Warning, the following show will spoil the hell out of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire books and the TV show A Game of Thrones. Also, you're probably going to find a fuck ton of bad language. The explicit tag is there for a reason.
Death and boobies, 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 death and boobies.
Welcome back to the Ironwood Network Book Club. I'm your host, Maester Ironwood. Here with me, as always, is Septa Ironwood. Septa, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Doing good. What are we here to talk about tonight?
Samwell Tarly.
Oh, so not the disaster in Iowa.
No.
No.
This
Samwell
is
Tarly.
Not
a different voting disaster.
not a political podcast.
All right. Yes, we're here to talk about Sam's first A Feast for Crows chapter.
Yes.
We're going to check in on John one last time till the next book.
Is that so?
What?
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 Really?
He split up the storylines between these were.
Yeah, no, I know he did that.
These last two books were originally one book.
Yes, I know. You've explained that to me multiple times.
He separated out the stories.
But I didn't know this was John's.
And Sam's leaving, and Sam's our only other POV at the wall, and he's headed away.
Okay.
Or do else up there?
I mean, there's a number of other people up there. Somebody up there could be getting a POV.
Maybe Davos.
But he wasn't there, I don't think.
I don't know. We'll have to see what's going on. Well, I don't think we get too much John in this book. Just be prepared. Oh.
I like the John.
I know. Everybody does. They're John chapters.
Alright.
I mean, it's a short book as far as chapters go.
Right. But each chapter is kind of long.
Yeah, they're long chapters. But there's not that many of them. All right, yeah. So we're doing Sam 1, which was a interesting chapter. All right. So before we get to Septa giving us a synopsis,
There's a haiku.
there is indeed.
Go for it.
Dragonsteel, you say? Sounds very fancy and cool, but you gotta go.
Yeah.
That is from the Lord Commander to Sam. All right, Septa.
Yes.
Give us a synopsis. What the hell happened in Sam?
So
What's going on to the wall?
Sam is in an old library he found under the wall in what they call the Wormways.
Yep.
He has no idea how long he's been down there.
Yeah, been a while.
At least a day, he figures. He comes back out, and someone stops him to tell him that the Lord Commander wants you, a.k.a. John.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to John, passes Gilly on the way out. She's crying.
Or just about crying, yeah.
So Sam goes in. John wants to know if he's found any information.
Anything useful? Yep.
Not much, maybe one or two tidbits.
Yeah.
That may or may not help at some point. John also tells Sam that, oh, and by the way, I'm sending you to Old Town. You're going to be my new maester.
Yep.
Maester Aemon's going with you.
Yep.
Oh, and Gilly and the babe.
Yes.
Yes.
Gilly and quote-unquote her baby.
John never said her baby.
Right.
John said the baby. Or the boy.
Yep.
Yes. No one in this chapter said she was bringing her baby.
Right.
They all just said the boy.
Yes.
Yes. So. So, Sam has no choice, but he has to go. So.
Yeah, he's been ordered.
Yeah.
By the Lord Commander.
Yeah.
So
John says no goodbyes. You're going in the morning. Don't make a big scene out of it.
The fewer people who know, the better.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why Sam can't tell people. Like, are people going to try to kill him?
No, I don't think it had to do with that. But, so the morning arrives. Sam loads up his horse. They've got kind of like what do they call it, a wain or something for Maester Aemon.
Essentially.
And Gilly and the baby to ride in.
A cart.
Sam says goodbye. Gilly, before she leaves, freaks out on John about how to properly take care for the baby that's still there because Gilly was both babies' milk mother. Since, oh my God, what's his name? Mance Raider. Wife died in childbirth.
Correct. Interesting stuff.
Yeah. And they're on their way?
Yeah. There's some interesting things that take place in this chapter.
Yes. There were two things that did catch my mind that I had to write down so I wouldn't forget them.
Okay.
But let's start.
Okay, so Sam has found the library of Castle Black.
what he doesn't think it's the only library either.
Right. He thinks that there's other libraries. This is a library.
Yes.
With, as far as he gets through reading, books dating back all the way to the 643rd Lord Commander.
Yes, so there must be more somewhere. And he only found this one by chance because the door was hidden behind 4 chests with loose papers in it from books that had fallen apart.
Yes. So who the fuck knows what else could be down here?
Right.
Like, literally, there could be, like, a dragon under the wall.
Yeah.
Or, like, stone giant, right? Remember, because, like, the horn would raise stone giants. I just think of, like, those terracotta soldiers that were found under the Great Wall of China.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if George literally put, like, stone warriors.
And I do find it ironic, kind of, that they are called wormways. Because in some parts of the world, dragons are known as worms, but it's WYRM.
Fireworms, yeah.
Yeah. So.
There are fireworms in this world, too.
Yeah.
That's how dragons were made. They cross something with a fireworm.
Yeah.
And that's how it's one of the ways the dragons might have been made.
That's cool.
Yeah. So. Yep. But yeah. So I mean, I sit here and think of the secrets that
this library contains,
or
the wall contains.
Yeah, that the wall contains. Like, and remember, this isn't even the oldest castle.
No, it's not.
What besides
what is
the
buried
Black
under
Gate,
the wall?
Like, what besides the Black Gate is under the Night Fort, which is the first castle? Like,
right.
How fucking old is what's in the library there?
Right.
Like, Jesus. Like,
yeah.
Fucking like Bram the Builder's bones or something? Like, holy shit.
Yeah. There's got to be all kinds of stuff buried under this wall.
Yeah. Absolutely. That nobody has any idea about.
Right.
Which is...
Because it's all been lost to memory when people left and abandoned the castles.
It's been 8,000 years, give or take.
Yeah.
Since the Age of Heroes. And as Sam points out, the first men didn't use words, they used runes.
Yeah.
Of course, we find out in other chapters that the first men also wrote.
Right.
So this is incorrect, what Sam tells us, because they actually do have a language and do write.
Right.
So,
but as far as he knows, they don't.
At this moment, as far as he knows, they don't. Correct. But yeah, so he's found all sorts of interesting stuff.
Yeah, whether it's pertinent to what he's looking for.
Not really.
Not really.
Yeah, one interesting thing. Oh, I guess we can talk about that when we get to his conversation with John.
Yeah.
One thing that Sam does mention while down in the library still that I want to talk about a little bit.
Okay.
Is a particular book.
Is it one he brings up with him?
So it's Maester Thomax's Dragon, being a history of House Targaryen from exile to apotheosis, with a consideration of the life and death of dragon.
Okay, it sounds like a Harry Potter textbook.
Well, so here's the thing, right? So the order of the words in the title is very interesting.
Okay, explain it to me.
So it goes, a history of House Targaryen from exile to apotheosis.
So they were exiled from somewhere and then came over and became kings of...
Because apotheosis means basically risen to death.
Right.
So basically becoming like a god on
Well, I figured that was like some big important whatever. But where were they exiled from and why?
So, interesting. Where did the Targaryens come from? Mm-hmm. If they were... Right, because as far as we know the story of the Targaryens, it is from apotheosis to exile.
Yes.
Right?
We don't know.
They were risen to kings, and then they were overthrown and exiled 15, 20 years ago.
Yes.
But this book says from exile to apotheosis. So it's a history of up to when they became kings.
George, what do you have here?
So they were exiled at some point before that from someplace else. So I have thoughts on this.
Okay.
If we want to get into them a little bit. You won't really understand because you haven't read the encyclopedia book, the World of Ice and Fire.
Right.
However, there was the great Society of the Dawn.
Yes.
Which is like the first great civilization.
Right.
And it had the, like the Jade Empress and, the jewel-dyed color.
With the
Kings
purple
and
blue and green.
Tourmaline and all that good.
Yes.
And then they were, and then late in their time, the Bloodstone Emperor killed his sister and took over.
Okay.
The Great Empire of the Dawn.
Okay.
I think that the Valyrians, also including particularly the Targaryens, are the people who ran away from the Great Empire of the Dawn when the Bloodstone Empire did his coup.
So they forced themselves into exile?
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
if you're a political refugee and you run away, you're still technically in it, right? You can't go back.
Right.
If you go back, then the Bloodstone Emperor's gonna kill you.
Right.
So they're technically in exile.
Okay.
So I think that that's where they originally come from.
That's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we also know, so then they would have gone to Valyria, but I don't think that's only where they went.
Right.
Because we have tales of dragons. Like, so supposedly there was no dragons in Westeros until the Targaryens brought them.
Right.
But there's a knight from the Age of Heroes who's literally like, his title is like the Dragon Slayer. He's called the Dragon Knight.
Who?
I forget his name, but he's up there with, he's mentioned in songs with Simeon Stareyes
Okay.
and those guys.
Simeon Stareyes was mentioned in this chapter, too.
Yes. So, from the Age of Heroes. So, if you are a knight named for fighting dragons, it's probably a safe bet that you fought dragons, which means that there would have been dragons around in Westeros
Right.
at that time for you to fight.
Right.
So, I have a feeling that Valyrians, if not even Targaryens, came to Westeros when they were exiled from the Great Empire of the Dawn as well. Like, I'm pretty sure the Danes are probably from the Great Empire of the Dawn.
Right.
Almost certainly. Because you remember in Daenerys' dream, all of those mysterious figures with jewel-colored eyes,
Yeah.
they had swords that looked like dawn.
Dragonsteel sword.
Well, yeah, exactly. Although dawn is from, carved from the
Yeah.
heart of a fallen star, but yeah, they had the white glowing swords, which is what dawn is. So I'm pretty sure that the Danes come from the Great Empire of the Dawn. They might have been the Valyrians that came over to Westeros. Or not, they wouldn't have been Valyrians.
Right.
Because the ones who became Valyrians went to where Valyria came. You get what I'm saying. They came from the same place at the same time as the people who settled Valyria.
Right.
And they settled in Westeros,
Right.
I think.
Okay. That's really cool.
Yeah, so that book is an interesting little tidbit there with the title, because you kind of read past it.
Oh, I completely read past it. I
Until
was
you
like,
think
oh,
about
it's
it.
4 sentences? No, thank you. No, thank
Well,
you.
technically it's all commas, so it's only one sentence.
I know, but trying to read the title made me think of Hermione and Harry Potter. How she's naming off all these textbooks that Harry and Ron probably never read.
Right, yeah. But, yep, interesting book title, which leads to interesting theories on my part that I really like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, that's kind of a cool little mention. But, all right, beyond that, there's other things we need to talk about.
Yep, so Sam leaves the dungeons, or the library.
Yeah, after playing with his mouse.
Yeah.
Which is not a euphemism. He's literally playing with a mouse.
Yeah. He thought about killing it because they eat paper.
Yeah, and you can see that some of the book
But
bindings have
he,
been
like,
nibbled on.
yeah, but he, like, shuffled the book too much and dropped it, and the mouse ran away.
Yeah.
It was a tiny-ass thing. It was, like, the size of my pinky.
Yeah, really small mouse.
Yeah.
That's a tiny-ass mouse, so it's like a baby. Definitely not the Rat King.
No. Sam is back to the part where he's, like, really stuck in his head where everything scares him.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to, like, just, like, skip over a bunch of that.
Right.
Because Sam is awesome no matter what he thinks. So...
As John tells him later.
Yes. So Sam comes out into the daylight, and somebody tells him that the Lord Commander is looking for you.
Yeah. He's like, John? You know anybody named John? John? Who's this John you
That's
speak
Pip and
of?
Gren, who
Yeah.
are being asses. Yeah. Yeah. So Pip and Gren are picking at him while the guys, who I can't remember who he was saying that Sam, or the Lord Commander wanted Sam.
Yep.
So Sam leaves them there and heads over to the Lord Commander.
Yep, still carrying like a whole bunch of
Yep.
scrolls and books and shit from
Yep.
the library.
So, John has put his new rooms, in the armory,
Yes.
in Donald Noy's old chambers.
Yep.
So he goes over there, and he literally runs into Gilly.
Yep, literally runs into her, drops a bunch of the books he's carrying.
Yep. Who is leaving John's, and she looks like she's about to cry.
Yep.
Now, normally that's not pertinent, except it's mentioned multiple times in this chapter that she is very upset.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Yep.
And then we get the fact that Jon never says that she's taking her child with them.
She says the child.
The child.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Sam mentions something and Gilly gets upset again and says, I have to go feed the babies, otherwise I'm going to leak all over myself. Yep. Takes off running. Sam realizes he's got a boner. And then he has to go back to work. So he goes to pick up the books and got some mud on a page. Now, was that page relevant to you at all?
Not really.
Not really? Okay. I didn't want to skip past it if it was something that you thought was relevant.
I don't think so, right? Okay. It's just
It was a colored drawing of, I think it was one of the dragons, Baelor or something like that.
Oh, Valyrian. Black Dread, yeah.
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 So he tries to dry off the mud and stuff like that, and he goes into Jon's office.
I want to see later or earlier in that book.
Yeah.
No, I don't care. I know about Valyrian, the Black Dread. I want to know what happened like several years before that. Right. That's what I want to know about.
So he goes in, and Mormont Raven comes over to greet him.
Yep. Greet him by ripping his hand apart.
Yep. Ripped right through with the gloves. So Sam goes over to talk to Jon, who all of a sudden, after he became Lord Commander, he's like changed his complete entire demeanor on how he talks to the guys.
So he's put on remember what they said about Ned?
Yes.
He's put on his Lord's face.
Yes, he has.
Is the way I look at it.
And he absolutely has. Right. Because Pippin...
as if we need more reminders that Jon is 100% a clone of Ned.
Yeah, exactly.
He has now put on his Lord's face.
Yeah, because Pippin Gren made mention that Jon doesn't come and have a beer with them anymore at night.
Right, he doesn't come and watch the game with them after work and have beer and popcorn with them anymore.
Yep. He instead has put everyone to work.
Yep. Which they need to do.
Yep. He is having the men work round the clock to rebuild the staircase, which the men are complaining that Lord Mormont never worked them this hard. However, the stairs never fell when Lord Mormont was there.
They always had stairs.
Yeah, exactly. So they need stairs. Yep. So quit your bitching and get back to work. Jon's always in the yard practicing his sword.
Yeah, he's either training or in his quarters.
Yeah, and Sam was like, why are you always doing that? You're so good at what you do. And he shows him the Valyrian sword, and he's like, this is a great sword. I have to be a great sword wielder to use this sword.
Yeah.
Kind of makes a good point.
Yeah, a sword wielder should be worthy of his sword.
Yep.
Essentially is what he says.
Yes.
Which is kind of like, so then you got Brienne with Oathkeeper, she doesn't use Oathkeeper.
Yes.
She uses a regular sword.
Because she doesn't
think she's worthy.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. Yep.
And Jon also has the men all practicing archery now. Because everyone knows how to use a sword except for Sam.
Right.
So now...
And you can kill whites at a distance with obsidian arrows much easier than stabbing them with a dagger.
Yeah, one at a time.
Right, so... Yeah, practice your fucking archery. Because you can't use a dagger from the top of the wall fighting enemies, but you can use a bow and arrow.
Yes.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah.
Smart to use the only projectile weapons you have. More and more.
So Jon's like, what have we learned? So Jon's like, what have we learned? And Sam's like, not really much. A lot of the stuff we already do know.
Yep.
Either the storm comes with them or they come with the storm. Night comes with them or blah, blah, blah. The obsidian will kill the whites. And it, from what I could tell, Dragonsteel will kill the others.
Right. So Sam makes mention to Jon. He had read about a sword that the last hero used to defeat a actual other in battle, which actually killed the other, which was made of Dragonsteel.
Yes.
And so Jon jumps to Valyrian steel.
Yes.
In his mind.
Right.
Which makes sense, right? Valyrian
right, but they're
dragons.
not the same thing.
Right. So I think what it is, I'm fairly certain that Dragonsteel is probably like the precursor to Valyrian steel.
Right. Yeah.
Because it was probably made before, right? So if we learn that the Valyrians most likely existed before Valyria somewhere else.
Yes.
So if they made Dragonsteel, like say in the Great Empire of the Dawn, and then they moved to Valyria, then as they made it later on, it would have become known as Valyrian steel
because it's not the original
right, and it's made
recipe
in Valyria,
or whatever.
It's made in Valyria now. So yeah. So it's almost certainly the original Valyrian steel.
Yeah. And Jon makes the jape of, oh great, I'll just have to ask every major household in Westeros to lend us their swords.
Send us their Valyrian steel swords.
so that we can,
So we can defend ourselves.
But the original conversation was about Jon is sending a letter to King's Landing to King Tommen, the little boy still, being potty trained. He makes a joke about how Bran used to beat him in the yard. In the yard because the little prince was so padded up that Bran just had to poke him and he fell over.
Yeah.
And Tommen got a kick out of it. He was having so much fun.
Yep.
And I think Jon's kind of appalled that that's the boy sitting on the throne right
that's
now.
The king, while Ned and Robb are dead.
Yes.
And that's the king of the realm.
Yeah, so Jon's a bit bitter.
Well, his entire fucking family, so far as he knows, is dead.
Yes, but it's not Tommen's fault.
No,
but yes,
it's
because
Tommen's family's fault.
Yes. Agreed.
Well, actually, no. Robb's dead because of Robb.
Robb is dead because of Robb.
Robb is dead because of Robb. Ned is dead because of Tommen's family.
Yes.
Robb is dead because of Robb.
Yeah.
Because Robb done fucked up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Something you want to talk about?
Yes, but I'm trying to remember.
We can talk about it out of order. It's fine.
Okay, so Jon makes a statement that kind of, to me, it was, I can't say amusing because it wasn't funny, but to me it gave Jon another connection to Mance because now we're talking about Vala. Is that her name? Val. Because...
You're thinking of Vala Melderon.
Yeah.
No, not her.
Yeah, because Sam was talking about Gilly, and Jon said that she was there to ask about Mance for Val. Mm-hmm. Is how that one started.
Which is a lie.
It is, but it's one Jon's got to give.
Yep.
But she's done it before, so it wouldn't be completely incorrect.
Correct.
So I guess what the plan is King Stannis plans to put Mance to the sword. Or burn him in a fire. Burn him in a fire. Jon wants to put him to the sword because he was
He's a deserter.
He's a deserter of the Night's Watch, and by law...
Interestingly enough, Jon, of all people, wants to execute a deserter.
I don't think he wants to. I think it's just the duty of the Lord Commander.
Because if anybody else had been elected Lord Commander, Jon would be executed as a deserter.
Yes, exactly.
So
Jon feels he has to.
Interesting that Jon is going to do that.
Yeah. But, he's not going to because King Stannis wants to put him to the flames. So Jon's not going to get to.
Right.
But it should have been Jon's responsibility to. But Sam had said something about him being noble. Mm-hmm. And Jon said...
King's blood.
Yeah, King's blood, that's what it was. And Jon said, Mance's blood is no more royal than mine own.
And yet Jon's blood is royal.
Yet Jon's blood is royal for our beliefs. And
for either way.
Right.
RLJ or NAJ.
Yes, it is
Jon
royal
has
blood.
royal blood.
But for what we believe, Mance's is actually probably more royal than Jon's is.
No. Starks were the kings of winter.
And Arthur Dayne
was a Dane.
Oh, not...
They weren't kings.
Right. They weren't princes.
Right.
But I was thinking because...
So the Martells were the ruling family in Dorne. So they were the royalty.
Okay,
there.
so maybe I got it wrong, but I was thinking because he was a Dane, they were more of a higher class family.
Right.
Is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Kind of like how the Dorns are... The Martells are prince and princesses. For some reason, I was thinking that the Danes were kind of like that.
They'd be more like dukes and duchesses.
Right.
Or like a secondary family.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would say that they're definitely one of the more powerful families.
Right.
And like I said before, I don't think king's blood means like the blood of a king, right? Because Mance is just like a self-appointed king.
Right.
So his blood is, like Jon says, no more royal than his. In fact, Jon's blood, just by being a Stark, is more royal in its lineage than Mance's would ever be.
Well, and we've had that argument with the Baratheon line.
Correct. Now, the Baratheon line does have Targaryen blood in it.
Right, but that's still less royal blood than the Starks have, I think.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but remember...
The Baratheon Targaryen blood's 200 years old, if I remember from where I read that.
Yeah, it's about 200 years, yeah.
And I think the
Stark
royal blood...
8,000 years. I mean, it goes back to the Age of Heroes.
Right.
So, yeah. But I also don't think that king's blood means king's blood. I think it literally is referring to the first men.
Right, yes. No, I get what you're saying.
Which is another indication that, A, the Danes are probably Valyrians.
Right.
Or what became Valyrians, but didn't go to Valyria, they came to Westeros instead. And that they were here with the first men because, therefore, Arthur Dane would have first men blood.
Right.
By being a Dane.
Right.
Which would also make his blood just as royal
as Jon's. That's kind of where I was getting to with that.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
With that sentence, I was just having trouble tying it together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then for the whole royal blood thing, we get to the discussion of them leaving.
Yes.
So Jon says, I'm sending Gilly and the baby away.
Yep.
You are going to Old Town to study to become my new maester. Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear bitching about it. I don't care what Daddy said.
Yep.
You are a brother of the Night's Watch. You are going to...
do what I say.
Do what I say.
Yep.
And Maester Aemon's going with.
Yep. And Sam's like, well, Maester Aemon can't travel. He's too old.
And Jon says, he has king's blood in him too. I'd rather him not be put to the fires.
Yeah. This is as much Maester Aemon's plan as it is mine.
Absolutely.
We've talked about it. And B, neither of us want him to be burned alive because remember, he's a fucking Targaryen. So if they're going around burning people with king's blood, he's like Stannis knows who he is. Mm-hmm. So he's like number 2 on the fucking hit list.
Yes.
You know.
And we're not going to have our little maester put to the...
Right. No, we're not going to let that happen.
Nope.
So,
and that's probably why Jon doesn't want word of this getting out.
Yep.
Because he wants to get Maester Aemon away before King Stannis can have anything to say about it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. No doubt about that. That's why, is to get Maester Aemon out of there. And to get the boy out of there.
Yes, the boy.
Once we find out which boy it is.
Yes. Because it's not talked about till later.
Right.
Much later.
Much later.
When they're like in the middle of a hurricane later.
Yeah. Then they find out. And then Sam finds out which the boy it is.
Maester knew.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Again.
Yeah.
Most likely his plan to go with Jon's.
Yeah. And I understand Gilly's part in it, and I understand her reactions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And, I mean, honestly, good on her. Like, that takes a lot of fucking resolve.
Yes.
What she does.
Yes.
So, especially knowing that, you know, we're getting this boy out of there because potentially bad things might happen to him because of who he is.
Yeah.
And my son is taking his place, and therefore those bad things could happen to him.
Could happen to him,
yes. So.
Except, I'm pretty sure they can tell a newborn from a 2 or 3 month old.
One would hope.
Yes.
One would hope Melisandre's that smart.
Yes.
So, or at least Stannis.
Yep.
So. But one interesting little fact that we did get that I really like is Sam tells Jon that he's not the youngest Lord Commander.
He's the 5th youngest.
So far as Sam can tell at this point, he's found 4 that were younger than Jon.
The youngest he found was a 10-year-old Stark boy.
So here's the thing. All 4 of the ones younger than Jon were all
Starks.
Bastards of the Stark King.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
How appropriate.
How appropriate.
That the young ones who know what the fuck they're doing are becoming Lord Commanders. But a 10-year-old Lord Commander? And he ruled for 60 years.
Yeah. So obviously he did a good job.
Absolutely.
And again, right, and you think about, right, so if that would have, so if it was when the kings when the Starks were kings, then it's at least hundreds of years ago. I'm going to assume this one was probably thousands of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, these Starks were, I mean, like beyond, hailed in the North.
Yes.
They were the kings of the kings of winter. They fought great battles against the Night's King. They had really close ties with the Night's Watch. I mean, Bran the Builder, certainly a Stark, is the one who built the wall and probably even started the Night's Watch to begin with.
Right.
So I could imagine that when, the next Stark bastard comes to the wall, of course they're going to make him the Lord Commander. They know that, the Stark King was probably raising his second son or his bastard to be the Lord Commander at the Wall.
Right.
While his first son is being raised to be the next king of Winterfell.
Right.
So, it doesn't surprise me that even that young, that they'd be selected.
Right.
And also that, again, going back to our I'm pretty sure there always must be a Stark at the wall. Look how far back Starks go at the wall.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
At least 4 Lord Commanders before Jon.
Yes.
And
that's only from 1,000 to 600 and change.
Yeah.
So that's in the last 400 years.
Give or take. Mm-hmm. This guy reigned
in the last 400 commanders, I will say.
Right, yes. Even if you figure like an average of 10 years per man.
Yeah.
Then you're talking,
Well, the one was 70 years.
Right, but there's ones that are shorter too.
Right.
So I'd say that goes back at least 4,000 years, give or take. If you take an average of 10 years per reign.
So it's about one every 100 years, there's a Stark in charge.
At least, as far as we can tell. That's just the young ones.
Yes.
Benjen went when he was almost an adult.
Never was a Lord Commander.
No, but you would have to imagine that second sons would have gone later in age. So maybe, somebody, a Stark shows up at 20 and is named the next Lord Commander.
Right.
Or there's a Stark there at the age of 15, but the current Lord Commander doesn't die until he's like 25, and then he's elected at 25. I mean...
Right.
There could be Stark Lord Commanders all over the place.
Right.
For all
we
know.
As far as we know, there's 4 that have been younger than Jon.
Right. And
all Starks.
Right. And four Stark Lord Commanders, now 5 with Jon.
Yes.
And all of them are the youngest Lord Commanders.
Yes.
Which I think goes to the training that the Starks have historically given the men in their family.
Yes.
They seem like they are groomed very well for command and for lordship and for, ruling and doing the right thing by their people.
Even if they are bastards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're treated extremely well. They're trained extremely well. They're taught extremely well to the point where they hold very high positions of power.
Yes.
Like when Ned, I wonder if Ned even knows these stories about, these 4 Lord Commanders. When he tells Jon, there's great service, there's great honor to be won at the wall.
Maybe he doesn't know every detail, but he's got to know some of it because his brother lives there.
Yeah, Starks have been serving in the Night's Watch for thousands of years. I'm certain he knows that there have been Starks that have been Lord Commanders.
Right, well, I wonder how much stuff aside from the information about Jon's mother, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff that Ned has wanted to, but he can't show any kind of, personal interest or favoritism towards Jon. He can't be...
Because Catelyn will kill him.
Yeah, he can't be alone with Jon.
Right.
God forbid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So...
But yeah, I found that little nugget interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the Stark Lord Commanders.
Absolutely.
We end that conversation with basically Jon telling Sam, fucking suck it up and go.
Yes. Because Sam's just trying to come up with all kinds of excuses.
Any excuse not to go. My dad said he would kill me if I
at the wall, he's not your dad anymore.
Yeah, he would kill me if I ever became a maester. No son of his would ever wear a chain, blah, blah, blah.
Jon puts on his Lord face and says, you're going to do what I tell you because I'm the Lord Commander. And your daddy don't count because he's not here. Yeah, so you're getting on that horse in the morning and you're going.
Yeah, and so he can't talk Jon out of it. So then he goes to try to talk Maester Aemon into talking Jon out of it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't go any better.
Nope.
Maester Aemon just reminds him we're here to serve, essentially.
Yes. I am a maester and you are going to be one. We do what we are told.
Yep. I was sent here. I was sent to the Citadel by, my father's brother because too many dragons is...
His father's father, his grandfather.
That's right, his father's father. Because too many dragons is just as bad as not enough dragons. And, his father's father had the right of it, and he thinks that Jon has the right of it here, and that Sam needs to go, and that Maester Aemon needs to go. And,
So Sam goes and packs his bag, tries and fails to sleep.
Yep.
Gets his horse ready in the morning. The men are getting the wagon ready for Maester Aemon and Gilly and the baby.
Yeah, Three Finger Hob brings them some food for the trip.
Yep. Half of a salted ham. How generous.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Salted pork.
I like salted pork.
As Gimli might say.
Yeah.
Salted pork.
So, Maester Aemon's very unsteady. It's very windy this morning.
Yes.
Beginning of hurricane, I think.
Apparently.
So they have to help Maester Aemon up into the
wagon, cart,
He makes an offhand comment. I don't know. Well, by that statement, maybe you did catch it.
Go for it.
Where he's talking about he's excited to go back to Old Town because there is an inn on the Honeywine that serves some really nice cider. And it made me think, I wonder if it's the same one from the prologue.
Almost certainly.
Yeah. Okay. Because I never... Ouch. I didn't catch it the first time I read through it, but it was like honey wine and cider.
Yep. Honey wine is the river.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Almost certainly the same.
Yeah.
Especially when you tie in the fact that they're outside this bar shooting apples.
Yes.
In the prologue. And then you get the mention of cider here. Yeah, it's almost certainly the same place.
Yep.
Because we learned in the prologue that place has been around forever.
Yes.
So certainly it was around when Maester Aemon was
Absolutely.
there. Like 100 years ago.
Yep.
Because it's been around for thousands of years.
Yep. So they get Maester Aemon up in the wagon, and then Gilly comes out, and she's in tears. She's got the baby in her arms. And
bundled up to where nobody can see the baby.
Yep. And she turns around and starts freaking out at John, saying all this, like, don't name the baby before he's 2 because that's bad luck. Find him a good wet nurse so he can grow big and strong.
Yep.
And somebody said something, and he's like, and she whips around and yells in their face, "I'm a mother."
Right, because as far as anybody else knows, the baby she's leaving behind is Mance Rayder's baby.
As far as anyone knows, she's not leaving a baby behind. She and her son are leaving.
Right. She's only the wet nurse to this baby that's now being left behind.
So she's showing... I would understand it, like, if I didn't know what was... Like, the first time I read through it, I didn't see this as odd. I saw it as the wet nurse panicking over a newborn being left alone without any milk.
Yeah.
And with everything she's gone through and seeing baby boys get taken from her family and given to death.
Yep.
I understood her panic as worrying about the other child.
Right.
Reading through it again, I understand that it's actually more frantic than that.
Oh, 100%.
So, because spoilers, it's not her baby she has
spoilers.
with her.
She's taking Mance Rayder's baby, and her baby is staying in Mance Rayder's baby's place in order to protect Mance Rayder's baby because of the king's blood.
Yes.
And the fact that Melisandre's up there throwing fucking fire pits all over the place to burn kings alive.
Yes. Now, if our listeners follow our track of thinking, or if they're just following along as we think it out loud.
Right.
This has happened before.
It's all happened.
Yes.
It will all happen again.
Yes. We tend to repeat history, don't we?
Yeah. What was that? It's all happened. It'll all happen again. What am I thinking of?
I can't remember. You'll have to Google it. You'll think of it later and you'll go, "Oh my God, that was it."
Thinking of, holy shit.
You'll have to think about it later.
Yeah.
So the baby swap has happened before in history. In a really stop thinking about it. Get back to the podcast.
I can't. Like, what am I thinking of? Holy shit.
Here, I'll give you. You're finishing it?
Yep. Battlestar Galactica. Battlestar Galactica. This has all happened before. This will all happen again.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. That's what I was thinking of. Was Battlestar Galactica.
Do you feel better now?
I do. I do, yes. Okay. Now I need to watch Battlestar Galactica again.
You'll have to get it.
Well, I have the first season because your parents got it for me.
Oh, yes, that is true.
But, yeah. All right. So, yeah, when you said this has all happened before, it just, like, went boom right into my head. Yeah. This has all happened before. This will all happen again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I couldn't stop myself from trying to figure out what the fuck it was.
That's it.
But, yes, if they follow our thinking... John is doing at this moment the same thing that his daddy did.
Yes.
A long time ago.
Yes.
Yes. And
because I discussed it in our John Spiracy episode.
Yes, swapping babies in order to keep them safe.
Yes. And that was a Dane baby as well.
Yes. Absolutely. So, interestingly enough, it was a Dane baby as well. Yeah. Weird.
Isn't it?
Also, it would... Yeah. Also, I mean, Val looks an awful lot like a Dane, doesn't she?
Doesn't she?
Yeah. Which would also make sense why she's, like, I don't think she's Dalla's sister, because they look nothing alike. I mean, like...
I don't look anything like my sister.
I understand, but supposedly they had the same parent, right? I would assume.
Right.
Like, whereas you and your sister that don't look alike...
Have one parent.
Only have one parent in common, not two.
Right.
I would assume that they have two parents in common if they're siblings.
We're siblings.
In their society, though.
Right.
And they look nothing alike.
Well...
Like,
if we think Mance is a Dane...
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Then does he know Val from before?
That's what I'm saying. Is it possible that she is a Dane and therefore related to the baby in some way, and therefore...
I see no correlation to that.
Other than the fact that she looks like one?
Yeah.
Okay. The fact that she looks exactly like a Dane.
Oh, because she doesn't look anything like any of the other
She doesn't look
wildlings?
anything like a wildling.
So do you think, like, she came over the wall somehow?
Oh, yeah.
I want to know how.
Well, I mean, maybe we'll get there. But she seems very much like she does not belong. One of these things is not like the other. Which would also explain why, even if she's not Dala's actual sister, if she is related to Mance Rayder, who is Arthur Dane, if she is related to him...
Who is she?
Who
she's
knows?
not Ashara.
No, certainly not, because Ashara didn't have blonde silvery hair.
Right.
Ashara had black hair. But if she is related to him, then it will also explain her focus on the baby, right, as just as much as if she were actually Dala's sister,
right?
Which doesn't seem to be Dala's sister.
Okay, that's why I got the name mixed up because I said Valen.
Yeah. Well, you were also thinking of Vala Malderon.
I was.
Because who doesn't think Claudia Black every once in a while?
Probably our listeners who have no idea who we're talking about.
There are plenty of people out there, I can guarantee you, who know exactly who Vala Malderon is from Stargate. They know who it is. Plenty of them out there. There's certainly some who don't, but
right.
I'm 100% certain Patron Katarina knows who Vala Malderon is. No doubt about it. Almost certainly Patron Ben knows.
Hey, Kat, let us know if you know who she is.
Yeah. Almost certainly they know who Vala is. But anyway, yeah. So, because it's interesting how, right, she doesn't seem like she's actually Dala's sister. Like, they just, like, don't, it doesn't seem right. It doesn't fit.
Right.
Because she looks nothing like Dala. She looks nothing like any of the wildlings.
Right.
Like, and she acts like she doesn't belong, right? I mean, like, most of the wildlings are just, like rough and tumble.
And she's not.
She's, like, very, like, uptight and
noble-ish,
and acts very proper,
right? And
not like somebody...
Mance Rayder doesn't, though.
No, but he's also even when he was like high and proper, right? I mean, he was still a fighter,
right?
You know, he was a knight, like so he probably he spent his time out in the field, just kind of chilling with the boys, right? Plus, also he could have been there for a lot longer, right? 20 years at this point, right? Give or take. So. But then it would explain her willingness to stay with the baby. Right. If she's related to the baby through Mance Rayder parent instead of through Dala.
Well, through either parent.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Because I don't think she's... I don't see her being related to Dala. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
She may not be related to Mance at all, because then I'd want to know how they're related. And
maybe we'll find out.
But maybe she's just someone who's along for the ride.
That's entirely possible.
So.
That's entirely possible. That she's along for the ride. I mean, maybe if we want to say that, like, maybe the woman that Mance Rayder met, who was the pretty woman who sewed his cloak back together. If we want to say maybe that wasn't Mel, maybe it was Val. Maybe she's another fire priestess. I don't know.
I mean, that could be true.
Possible.
Because they had all kinds of ethnicities for the priestesses.
Yeah, they come from everywhere.
So.
I mean, but she doesn't strike me as wildling. We've met a lot of wildlings in this story. Yeah. Val does not strike me as somebody who
she absolutely does not. I wouldn't put it past her being a priestess. Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me if Melisandre. So. But
then you think that if she knew Melisandre, she'd talk Melisandre out of burning Mance Rayder alive.
Right, but then Val could also tell her that that's not the real baby.
True.
So. I'll have to think more on who Val is.
Okay. Yeah. But, that was just my last little bit of thought on that. Just random things that came into my mind while reading this chapter.
Absolutely.
And then, they're off.
And goodbye.
Yep. They're off and on their way.
Yep.
And we are headed away from the wall.
Yes, we are.
On our way to...
Old Town.
Bravos to start. On our way to Bravos first.
Oh, yes. My first thought was... when he said you're going to take a ship to Bravos and then find your own way to Old Town, wonder if they're going to run into Arya and not even notice.
Because he wouldn't know who Arya is.
Well, right, but he's already crossed paths
with Bran.
With Bran. Mm-hmm. What are the odds he's going to cross paths with...
I don't know. I know the answer. What would you give the percentage that he crosses paths with Arya?
Pretty likely.
Well,
I mean, he's going to friggin' Bravos.
60, 70%, 75%?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there? 75%?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll find out.
We will. And no, I really don't know that answer right now.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't know the answer yet. She hasn't gotten that far in this book.
No.
All right. We need to give this chapter a title. Do you have any?
To Old Town.
To Old Town. Hi-ho, off to Old Town we go.
Did you have any ideas?
I did.
What's
I had
up?
one. I had the Lord's Face
Yes.
for John.
Yes.
All right. So we will call this chapter The Lord's Face.
Yeah.
Do you know what chapter is next? Speaking of a certain character.
I think it's Arya.
It is indeed Arya. Yes, our first look into Arya as she is on her way to Bravos, strangely enough.
Yeah.
Interesting.
From a different boat, though.
From a different boat. Well, if I'm not mistaken, she's already arriving
Oh, probably.
in this chapter, if
I
I'm
think
not
so.
mistaken. So
Probably.
it's definitely a different boat than Sam. Yeah.
All right.
Because his boat, right, and his boat's leaving from Eastwatch.
Oh, and she left from White Harbor.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
not White
no,
Harbor.
The salt pans.
Yeah.
Yeah, salt
Scratch that disc a little more.
Stand alive, stand alive.
Well, you said the salt
The
pans.
Because I was going to say the salt flats. I'm like, no, that's in fucking
Not,
Utah.
not the flats. Not the
That's
flats.
in
The
Utah.
pans.
Yep, the salt pans. Yep. So, I think she's already there or just arriving.
All right.
But yeah.
We'll see.
So, interesting Arya stuff coming up. Starting in the next chapter.
Yep.
Maybe we'll see a house that's black and white. I don't remember. I haven't read. It's been a while since I read this chapter, so we'll have to see if we got a house that's black and white. Maybe get a little look into the kindly man who welcomes her, and we'll see what's going on.
We'll see.
All right. Thank you, everybody who listens to the show.
Yes,
thank you, everybody
thank
who
you,
supports the
guys.
show on Patreon. Thank you, everybody who leaves ratings and reviews wherever they listen to the show. We super appreciate it. Super helps us out in finding new listeners and paying for the server to keep the show running and all that good stuff.
Yes.
You want to support the show? Patreon.com/Ironwood. Well, it's $1 a month. All you need to do. Other than that, hit up our YouTube channel and give us a subscribe on there. We really appreciate that. New episodes are going out on video form as well as audio.
Yep.
So we appreciate that. Plus, all the back episodes are being uploaded as well. Plus, I've got a few theory videos on there. Not too much, but, some stuff. And then we'll be doing stuff for the new show when that starts coming out as well. Other than that, anything else you want to know, just go to our website, iceandfirepod.com. You can learn how to contact us, where to subscribe to the show, go through all the back catalog, see the upcoming episodes, all that good shit, all available right there. So until we catch you guys again on Tuesday in Aria, goodbye.
Bye.